The pre-trial hearing on the Thabo Bester case has been postponed to the 31st of July. Bester and his co-accused are charged with several offences, including planning and executing the prison escape of Bester, a convicted murderer and rapist, in 2022. Last month, the matter was postponed after Bester launched into a tirade about his alleged ill-treatment in prison and accused the court of not allowing him fair representation. This after he fired several of his legal counsel. For more on this, we speak to legal expert Abigail Ngubeni. Abigail, a very good afternoon to you. Thanks very much for your time. Is it fair or not to say things are where they are with all these delays, primarily because of Thabo's legal representation woes?
Good afternoon, Vuyo, and good afternoon to the viewers of Newzroom Afrika, and thank you very much for having me today. Yeah, it is fair to a certain extent, Vuyo, to say there has been delays on the side of Mr. Bester. But as well, some of the things that he raised last time in his appearance are valid issues which touches on the right of the accused persons to a fair trial in terms of Section 35 of the Constitution. But where the developments today were also very worrisome, you'll also remember that there is an issue of him wanting to bring an application, and it is not clear at this stage what will that application be. And I heard the state prosecutor, of course, touching on issues of jurisdiction. And if he is intending to bring issues such as challenging the jurisdiction of the court, which also, of course, may be another aspect to the delay, but as well the issue of a legal representation and ability to consult, it will be very worrisome. What I've also heard of concern, Vuyo, is the issue of him wanting to bring an application that his legal representation says he has to do that in person. And one wonders how would one do some of the aspect of the matter being represented, but the aspect of the matter doing it in person. So those are confusing issues, and which brings unreasonable delay on this particular matter.
Let's talk about the first one. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people will still remember that drama last month when Bester addressed the court after accusing correctional services of infringing on his rights to a fair trial. Talk to us about that. Does he have a point, or at least some points?
You remember that in the cornerstone of the criminal justice system is the issue of the rights of the accused persons, the detained person, in terms of Section 35 of the Constitution, as well as the Act itself, the Criminal Procedure Act, that establish manners in which a trial in a criminal matter should be run. And part of the things that are very important is the fact that the accused person have rights. Amongst other rights is to have a right to consult fully in order to formulate a defense of his own and to be represented by a legal representative or a legal team of his choice. And if he is to challenge that, and if he's not getting that, touching on those rights, then he does have a valid point. But as well, I suspect, given today's development, that there may also be issues on his side, because if he has brought an application which is unsigned, which was served on Friday, sometimes saying he wants to challenge a jurisdiction, but the legal counsel who seem to be the one to be representing him says that part he will do on his own in person, and the other one will represent him, then it shows us that behind the scenes there might be issues on himself. There may be issues on his side to say, is he really wanting to be represented, or these are some of the delay tactics in keeping this ball rolling?
Well, Mohammed Sidat, withdrew as his legal representative on the basis of logistics and related stuff. Remind us again why people like Dalim Pofu and Zandile Mshololo also withdrew prior to Sidat.
One would say the issue of logistics and the manner in which consultation are done, and this is one of the things that I've been hearing to be happening. But Vuyo, you'll remember that the circumstances around the commission of this particular offense are very sensitive to the extent that it requires a certain level of security on the side of the correctional services, SAPS, and the handling of these particular accused persons. So the issue of logistics, I have heard it several times to say they are given a minimal time to consult. And this was ventilated last time. It's also raised today. One would have expected what the court have approached today to say, I will afford the legal team an ample time to consult why the accused person is still in the court precinct. But I may not be particularly sure of the main reasons of the previous counsels of withdrawal, but the issue of logistics in such as it relates to consultations and access to the accused person in the Hoshimampuru have been a high contested issue which requires an urgent intervention if we want to see the protection of the all accused persons before court in terms of their rights protection happening in this particular court.
His rights to be consulted fully, and of course, how well this trial, his trial would have to be run, and of course, the provisions of the Criminal Procedure Act, which you cited earlier. But outside of those issues, let's look a bit into how correctional services has sort of behaved, an issue, of course, he raises. He is a high-risk prisoner, isn't he?
He is a high-risk prisoner. And you remember that there's always, I heard this legal representation saying today that he shouldn't be deemed and he shouldn't be categorized as a dangerous criminal. But from where I'm sitting, this was a convicted person and a sentenced person who orchestrated I'm alive to the fact that he is presumed to be innocent until proven guilty. But if you look at the circumstances around the commission of this particular offense, a loss of life that have happened in that particular prison cell, it then says to all of us, even the correctional services, that measures should strictly be put in place for them to prevent a reoccurrence of events that have happened. So to answer your question, he is from where I'm sitting, a highly dangerous person, but one, of course, is highly alive to the fact that every accused person is innocent, is presumed to be innocent until proven guilty by a court of law, while we are also alive to the fact that the circumstances around the commission of this offense really needs a serious intervention from law enforcement.
Of course, all of this, the rights of an accused person, what correctional services may or may not have done, and the worrisome developments that you are citing in particular around the jurisdiction of a court, legal representation, and all those things. None of that offers the Katlego Bereng's family, the body of their son was found in Bester's cell at the Mangaung prison, and they want answers.
Yeah, it is very important, and that aspect that you are touching, Vuyo, is at the heart of it all. Remember that from the eyes of the public, justice should not just be said to be happening. Justice should be seen to be happening, and part of attaining justice is to find closure and reasons that, of course, will put the family into confidence to say the justice system and the will and the long arm of the law is still applicable regardless of the color and skin. And this is what we want to see, to see this matter going forward. In as much as this court should protect the rights of accused persons, I've also heard that other accused persons in the matter still want to have legal representative coming on record, given that the current one have withdrawn due to the lack of financial instructions. But I'm very excited that this court just gave a short postponement, a week or so, to have these nitty-gritties ironed off, because I can imagine that the family wants to see closure and wants to see the long arm of the law and the wheel of justice rolling and finding its finality for you.
Abigail Ngubeni, thanks as always. Really appreciate it.